Hi, my name's Leo and I'm a boat builder and a sailor, and I'm on a mission to rebuild and restore the 111-year-old classic sailing yacht Tally-Ho. Now, as you can see, we do have Pancho with us this week. I'm bird sitting while her parents are away, so she's going to try and distract me as much as possible. But anyway, this video is all about getting back to work on the boat after a long period of moving the boat and the workshop. We're going to be doing a bunch of different stuff. We're going to be fairing the deck structure, we're going to be paying some of the seams, we're going to be milling some timber, and going to be getting to know a few different boats and people in the yard here. You done?
Okay, so we're just getting ready to fair the deck beams here. Before we do that, we got to take down the bolts that come through the hanging knees. So you can see there's a little bronze bolt right here, and I'm just grinding it down so we've got room to fair.
So Pete and I are now fairing the deck structure, which in essence is just making the top of all the deck beams and the carlins even and fair, so that when we put the deck planks on top of them, those deck planks will touch every beam and will make a nice smooth curve with no lumps or bumps or dips in it. It's a simple concept, but fairing any complex 3D shape can be quite challenging, and it is a complex shape because there's the deck camber, which is the sort of arch of the beams going from one side of the boat to the other, athwartships, and there's also the sweep of the shear going fore and aft from the bow to the stern. Now we knew when we put these deck beams into the boat that the timber was a little bit green, so it had a high moisture content, so we were expecting all these beams to move a bit, and they have done. Some of them have settled, some of them have shrunk, warped a little bit, and so what that means is that there's just a little bit more work to do to bring them all down so that they're at the same level. When we cut these beams out, we did leave extra timber crowd on top for that purpose, and so now it's just a case of slowly dialing it in, taking down all the high spots, using battens to find where those high spots are, and then bringing the entire deck structure down so it's one nice fair curve in 3 dimensions.
Yeah. Hey Nina,
yeah.
You're on TV right now. Now
Say
you're
hi,
not.
guys.
You swear words like, this is a family channel we're on here.
I just wanted to thank all my fans.
Yeah. Dude, I could get used to this.
That's a good thing.
Puttying all day?
Because I'm about to.
Yep. You getting it right in there?
Get it right in there, man.
Yeah?
to say something cute about smearing this brown sludge into this tiny little seam?
No, I don't.
Just putting tape right around both sides of the seams, on all the seams on the bottom side of the boat. And then with a spackle knife, we just come in here with some of this seam compound and just like smear it in as deep as we can right to the back of the seam, right butt up against the cotton in there. And then we'll just wipe it back with a trowel and then really smooth it out with a rag and some mineral spirits, and then eventually peel the tape back. It's fun, it's great. It's kind of like not physically challenging. It's kind of a meditative thing. It's like just spending a day in the yard with your chums, just yakking it up here under this lovely old gal.
So much like the fairing of our hull frames, we're now fairing our deck beams, so the framework of our deck. It's a little bit easier than hull fairing because it's a constant camber, so all the deck beams, for the most part, except up forward, have the same camber on the tops of them, but it's still quite a challenge. They've settled a little bit, some of them have moved a little bit. Not only are they cambered athwartship, they follow the sweep of the shear line, so their outboard edges are flush with the shear plank, and the shear plank actually gets beveled depending on what angle the deck beam's coming into it, and so that accepts the covering board on the outside edge. So you will have seen this boat behind me next to Tally-Ho in various shots from inside the boat shed, and it's a really cute kind of tugboat style motor yacht, I guess, called Blue Star. It was built by the Northwest School of Wooden Boat Building by the teachers and the students, and seeing as this boat is leaving this shed very soon and has been our neighbour for quite a few weeks now, I thought it might be interesting to meet a few of our buddies who have been working on her in here.
My name's Mark Stout. I go by Scow Bay Boats here in town. I have a shop in the boatyard. Well, on Blue Star, we've done some plank repair and a lot of seam caulking, and stripped the decks of a coating, and we put on a clear coat over that, and more deck caulking and some miscellaneous repairs, and then a lot of electronics.
I'm not very good at this.
You're good at talking.
I know, but I'm like, you put a camera in front of me, unless I'm like lying, pretending to be somebody else, I'm like no good at it. Yeah, my name's Nick, and I do finish work in the Port of Port Townsend. My business name is Holidays in the Sun, marine painting.
Nice.
So on this boat, I've just been helping out here and there with the prep for the paint job and doing seams and mixing paint and just kind of giving a hand. And aside from this, I've been working on a folk boat that's right outside right there for, God, multiple months now. it got a full paint restoration.
Hi, my name's Nina. I've been working in the boatyard since about November of last year. I started doing finishing work with somebody in the yard that was a friend, or is a friend. Well, this Blue Star was out in the yard for a bit and it got moved in here next to Tally-Ho. And I've been hanging out with all the Tally-Ho guys. It's given me a chance to meet them, and we filled a lot of seams together, and we also became friends. And we've been having lunches together and gone on the water a lot, and I'm really happy to have met them. Aww. No.
So this underwater caulk is really thick. We thought about using a caulking gun and packing it into a tube to squeeze it into the slots, but we decided to just do it by hand. We've been putting the can of seam compound in a little double boiler and getting it all mushy, and it's much easier to use that way. When it's cold, it's kind of like clay, and as it gets warmer and warmer, it gets more and more like honey, I guess. And you want to find something in the middle where you can still work with it and it's not dripping all over the place, but it's warm enough that you're not needing to put so much energy into really pushing it into the cracks.
All right, so the crew, Patrick and Rowan, have been taking care of the seam compound on the bottom of the boat, so below the waterline. The seams get two different seam compounds. A below the water seam compound and an above the water seam compound, two different colors. I'm actually colorblind, so I think this is brown or reddish brown. Is that right? Yeah. And then white topside seam compound. So our seams have been filled with cotton in the corking or caulking process, and that is really what keeps the boat watertight. The seam compound finishes filling up the seam, so it actually flushes the seam to the plank edges. And so it gives it a smooth bottom, smooth top side, takes paint. There's a few different types of seam compound. We've just used Interlux. It's really important to completely fill the seam with it. So Rowan and Patrick, I kind of had to give them a tutorial. Packing it in with a putty knife, making sure there's no little air pockets in there or bubbles that'll trap water later on. Once the boat goes in the water and swells up, this stuff's actually gonna pudge out a little bit. You often see that on a boat. You cork 1 year and put seam compound in, and it goes in the water, comes back out, and you have to scrape off the excess, and then it should stay that way for quite some time.
We are milling up these big slabs of white oak to get them ready to cut bulwark stanchions out of. It's very challenging to find seasoned oak in this thick of a board, so we got it in preparation for the next step, and we've milled it down so it's ready to start marking out, but we're not doing that yet. Talking is very challenging sometimes. That's the only thing I'd want to add.
Okay, so we're pretty much happy with the deck structure. This will set us up really nicely for laying the deck, which won't happen for a little while, but we needed to get this out the way because after we put bulwark stanchions in, it's going to make it harder to actually do this fairing job. All the below the waterline seams are filled now, which is great, and in general it just feels really good to be getting back to work, to be able to make some sawdust again and just make some progress. So the new location is working out really well so far, really enjoying being in Port Townsend, and looking forward to getting on to the next stages. But until then, thanks a lot for watching, and a massive, massive thank you to everyone who has donated or otherwise supported this project. It makes a huge difference, and it means that I'm able to keep on making these videos and we're able to keep on doing this work. So I really, really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.
Really? Ow. Ow.